go. We have the NFC South predictions today. All right, so the division, we got the Bucks, we got the Saints, the Panthers and the Falcons, all from the NFC South, all predicted here for you today. So let's go.
I mean, you kind of have to start with Atlanta at 3-14. First of all, I don't know who's going to play quarterback. Probably Mariota, but I mean, Ritter's looked pretty decent. But either way, no matter what, I think you have the fourth best quarterback in your division right now.
Yeah.
You're either going to start a second or third. No. Yeah, like a second round quarterback in Ritter, or you're going to start Mariota, who I think is a really low end starter, anywhere from like 24th best to worst, right? Anywhere from the 24 to 32 range. So I don't love that. And whoever it is going to be running for their life. They don't have a good offensive line. I think the defense outside of Grady Jarrett and A.J. Terrell is pretty disappointing. There's not a whole lot to clap your hands about there. So I think 3-14 feels about right for them.
Yep.
I think they're going to be up there with like a Chicago, a Seattle, and a Giants team. Like they should be drafting within the top 5 this coming season.
Yes, I mean I don't see anything other than that for Atlanta, and we as a show will stick to our guns. We're not going to bet Atlanta at all this year. That's a team that you stay far away from unless it's them being beat by like 14 points, and you're like, oh, well, there you go. Bet them minus 14, but
plus 14, but yeah.
Or no, because you wouldn't bet them to cover that. I'm saying
no, but I bet them to cover a 14-point spread. That means that all they do is lose by 13.
Yeah, and then you know what would happen.
They lose by
Atlanta.
14.
That's why you never bet them.
Whatever.
But the Falcons at 3-14, it's kind of perfectly fit in there. I mean, they've been living at the bottom of the division. Nothing changes this year.
All right, well, let's go with third place, Carolina. So I mean, do I think they could compete with New Orleans? Yes, right. But who knows who's going to play quarterback? And I think whether it's Darnold or whether it's Baker, you're not in a great spot, right? I think you're going to go into you're going to go to about 13 or 14 football games where you have the worst quarterback.
Oh, easily
of the two, right? Yeah. So that's not a good spot to be in. And I don't really trust Matt Rule. The weapons are decent, but the O-line is bad, and we know what happens when Baker doesn't have a really good offensive line. When people are hurt, he's not super mobile. Thinks he's a little faster than he is. He doesn't get outside the pocket very well.
And we know what happens with C-Mac when the offensive line isn't as great as it is. He gets hit. He gets stuck a lot at the line of scrimmage. And he gets hurt. And he's very injury-prone. Yeah.
Right. And I think the defense will keep them competitive in a couple games, but I don't trust Baker down the stretch with a bad offensive line. I just don't. And I don't trust Matt Rule down the stretch either. So I think they have a chance to be near the Saints, but I don't think the culture is quite there with New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's why they land at 3 at 6-11. All right, number 2 in the division. Let's go with the Saints at 7-10. I think they could get to 8-9. First of all, they have a tough schedule. Like they did not get any favors with their schedule, so they're going to need some upsets.
Really yeah.
I already predicted like 1 or 2 just to get them to 7-10. I think they're going to need another couple if they want to get anything better than that. But I mean, if Jameis is the first 3 games, Jameis Winston last year, who was like a 120 QBR, right, had no picks, like 6 touchdowns, no picks, averaging like 200 yards a game.
Yeah.
They have a chance to go 9-8 and compete for a wild card spot. But here's the issue: that puts a lot on Jameis Winston. And have I ever seen that for a full season? And can I rely on him for a full season?
No, we've never seen evidence to back that up.
Right. So I think he'll be good for 6-7 games, and that would be reflect in the win losses there.
Yeah, I think so. And the thing with New Orleans, I think 9-8 is the best you're going to get. That's the ceiling, the absolute ceiling, and sneaking into the wild card spot, like you said. Don't expect like a big pop from them. That's not one of the teams that I would be eyeballing. We have them, and let's not forget they are in literal cap hell for
that's not
how
great.
long now?
Yeah, so, they're going to be in it for probably another year.
So it wasn't a great job to take in the first place with the coaching vacancy. They have a lot of question marks. One at quarterback, but it's a big one at quarterback.
Big one at quarterback. And what do I know? Do I know what I'm getting from Michael Thomas? No. And especially even if I do know that he's playing, who outside of him is going to make plays for me?
They have nobody that's really even remotely consistent on the weapons in the receiving corps.
Like none of them, nobody in the receiving corps has popped yet. And do I expect them to pop now under a defensive head coach as opposed to popping last year with Sean Payton?
Yeah.
Like I don't
in an old, outdated system.
Where like I'm not sure anybody like is going to get better from last year. I just don't. All right, let's go with the Buccaneers at number 1. I I don't think they're going to be quite as good as everyone might think. I think 11-6 feels about right. I think they took a slight step down just overall as a team, right? They lost key piece on the offensive line, Kappa, Marpet, and now their center Ryan Jensen's out for the season. Marpet retired, Kappa went to the Bengals in free agency. Good upgrade for them, but they have injuries at the wide receivers. Chris Godwin's coming off an injury. Who knows how good he'll be? Mike Evans just got dinged up a little bit in camp. Is he going to be 100%? And when you go into a season not 100%, really hard to play your way into 100%. If you are hurt, you kind of stay hurt in the NFL. Maybe not hurt enough to not play, but not 100%. They're a little bit thin at DB for my liking. I like the top one or two guys. Outside of that, I think you could shred them, which doesn't line up very well for the top people at the top of the NFC.
Yeah.
Right, so you look at
Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp.
Right, Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson. So Van Jefferson is significantly better than your third best guy.
Yes.
You're torched. Right, I think it's the same thing even if they play Minnesota. I think you're looking at Thielen, Jefferson, Dalvin Cook out of the backfield. Their tight end, Irv Smith, right? Yeah. They've got weapons all over the place.
You're right.
Their third best option is better than your third best coverage guy. So I think that's a weakness that is tough in the NFC. Even Philly has Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor. We'll see if he, rumors are he's gotten a lot better. Yeah. A.J. Brown obviously is the best on that staff. They have like 3 or 4 running backs, right? It's not a great position and a great unit to be like thin and not very good at.
I agree, but let's also look at it from the flip side though. The one thing that they have that nobody else has is Tom Brady.
Right, Tom Brady,
and we know that he can elevate the level of his receivers around him. He's done it for years.
Right, I agree. And I mean, they have a solid defense. They have good enough weapons.
Yeah,
I just worry about the top couple, but I mean, they're pretty deep with weapons. They got a solid defense. It'll be around average, maybe a little bit above average in the pack. I mean, you still do have Tom Brady.
Definitely enough to lead this division.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're in a very weak division.
And also 11-6. That's probably good enough for like the second seed, in the NFC, maybe third. But still, like you could be hosting a playoff game with that.
Yeah, easily.
Well, we'll run back through it. We have the Bucs at top at 11-6, followed by the Saints at 7-10, Carolina at 6-11, and Atlanta at 3-14 for the NFC South.
Fighting their way, huh?
I don't see Atlanta being very good.
They're gonna have to battle for a lot of years, man.
Yep.
I don't see it happening anytime soon, really.
Well, hopefully they get a good quarterback next year, turn it around. But let's get into the NFC